Annyeong haseyo. Ilkka Paananen imnida. Thank you. It's a great honor for myself to be here in Korea. 5 years ago when we set up Supercell, the Korean gaming companies like Nexon were a very big inspiration for us. Korea, as Finland, the country where I come from, has a very long tradition in making some of the best games in the world. Today I'm going to talk about culture, I'm going to talk about quality, luck, and failure. But before I get into that, I'd like to quickly explain you why we are so excited about the Korean market. Well, first of all, as I'm sure you guys well know, gaming is a nationwide pastime here in Korea. Korea is the home of the cyber cafes, home of the biggest e-sports tournaments. Gaming to Korea is like football is to Brazil, or ice hockey would be to Finland. Also, this is the #1 mobile country in the world. Top smartphone penetration, more smartphones than PCs, mobile chat being more popular than email. And last, but definitely not least, many of the greatest game developers globally come from this country. As I said, when we started, Nexon was a big inspiration for us, which comes from this country, obviously. They pioneered, and I think almost invented, the free-to-play business model, the model that our company still operates in. And there are countless and countless of our examples of great games, great game developers. So that's just quickly to explain why we're so excited to be here today, and just humbled to be here. We ourselves have had the opportunity to observe all of this for roughly a year here, as we've had our own small but very talented office full of great people here. As a kind of small example of our dedication to this market, I'd like to talk about the Super Bowl ad that we did this year. So obviously, we aired that first in the US in connection with the Super Bowl. But actually, the only other country in the world where we aired that commercial was here in Korea. And I'd like to just very quickly show you that next.
I don't know you, big buffet boy 85. But if you think you can humiliate me and take my gold, think again. Oh, I'm coming for you with lots of barbarians and dragons. I can't wait to destroy your village while you beg for mercy. But you will get no mercy. I will have my revenge.
Lion? I have a scone for Lion?
Over here. It's, Liam. You will regret the day you crossed Angry Neeson 52.
Angry Neeson 52.
We've been very surprised, very pleasantly so, about the reception that our games, especially Clash of Clans, has gotten here in Korea. We're just so thankful to our players for all of their support and just humbled by the success. And we're very proud to say that we are the only Western game company that has reached the top 10 here in Korea. And even for some time we were the #1, which has obviously made us very proud. So our story is really about 3 things. It's about culture, it's about luck, and it's about failure. But before I get into those things, I'd like to start from the very founding principle of Supercell. So roughly 5 years ago, we founded the company on this very simple idea. And the idea was that the best people would make the best games. We wanted to set up a new type of gaming company where the sole mission of the founders and the management would be threefold. First, they should hire the best people who would then form the best teams. 2, they should create the best possible environment for those best people to be successful. And then 3, they should just stay out of the way and let those best people do their jobs. That really was the idea, as simple as it sounds. And we believed, perhaps naively even, that with enough time, with enough luck, something great would come out of this. This is how we started. We had 6 co-founders, myself included, working from this one room somewhere in Helsinki, in Finland. At some point, the company started to grow. I think we managed to fit roughly 15 people on that very same room. And at some point, the room got so full that some of us had to be moved outside. So this was my desk for the last month or so before we got to move to the new office. These days, it's of course very different. We are almost 170 people in 5 offices around the world, including here in Seoul. Something that I think makes working at Supercell great is that it's a very truly multicultural environment. We employ people from 32 different countries. Even in Helsinki, more than half of the people who we recruit come from somewhere else than Finland. Well, we believe that the best people would make the best games, and we've been lucky in that we actually have not only 1, but actually 3 hit games in the global top 10 in the mobile platform. So in addition to Clash of Clans, we have games called the Boom Beach and Heyday. So lots of people ask me and us that, so what's the secret sauce? How is it possible to create this kind of multi-billion gaming business with roughly 100 people? So first, let's get one thing out of the way. Games is a hit-driven business, which means that for you to be successful, you have to be lucky. And we've been lucky. And I really mean that when I say so. I mean, this world is full of people, talented game developers who do great games, and yet those don't become hits. But we've been lucky enough to have actually 3 hits. So you need luck. But on the other hand, you can also quite systematically create an environment where you increase the probability of you being successful. You sort of increase the probability of you getting lucky. I know a football coach who says that the more you train, the luckier you get. And I guess you could say the same thing about startups. And for us, all of this comes down to 3 things. It comes to the structure, the environment where people work at, and then how we think about quality and how we think about failure. If we start from the structure first, so far I've explained that we wanted to get the best people. Then the next question obviously is that how do those best people work together? To give you a bit of a background on the structure, let's first look at how companies traditionally are organized. And you might be surprised, but actually most of the gaming companies are organized exactly in this way. So there's somebody up there on the top with so-called creative vision. Somebody who supposedly should have a crystal ball, who knows what the consumers or the players, in our case, want. And then everybody else there is just to implement that creative vision organized in those layers. But we felt when we founded the company that this type of model is not optimal for creative businesses such as games. We actually, quite frankly, we think that this type of model, it comes from this type of world. I mean, from assembly lines where you measure quality, where quality equals not making mistakes. And we just didn't think that was a very good fit with games. So what we wanted to do, we wanted to turn this model upside down, and we also wanted to make the organization a lot more flat, so we removed a lot of the management layers. And we came up with this concept of cell. Cell for us means a team of people. And we wanted those cells and teams actually to be the vision holders. We wanted to give those teams all the possible freedom and responsibility to operate. Not only does this make the work more fun and more motivating, but it actually makes us as a company a lot more fast, because all the decisions are made as close to the players as possible. And the whole idea here is that instead of processes, instead of rules, instead of management layers, we just wanted to trust people, we wanted to trust teams. We replaced rules with trust. So I've noticed that our model works best when I actually have very little to do, at least when I don't need to make a lot of decisions. My simple thinking is that the more decisions are made by our people instead of me, the better that is. And I've actually told our company that let's make this our goal. Please make me the least powerful CEO. You guys decide, and my job is just to create an environment where you guys can be successful. So that's one of my goals. Okay, so now we've talked about getting the best people and creating the best environment for them. Last, I'd like to talk about some of the values that we have, starting with quality. Everybody in this world says that they want to create the top quality. I mean, there's nothing new in that. But I guess like how we think about it, it might be a bit different. Because for us, quality and focus go hand in hand. For us, quality means that you try to do as few things as possible, but whatever you do as well as you can. And for us, quality has to be perfect. I mean, our dream is to create these games that people would not play for weeks or months. No, we want to create games that people would play for decades. And as I said, this brings us to this concept of focus. And for lots of people, focus means that the things that they do. We actually think about this a little bit differently. For us, focus is all of those things that you do not do. All those things that you say no to. Our simple thinking is that if you do just a few things, then you can just focus your attention on those things, and that's how you can actually be the best in those things. And for us, it has meant a lot of painful decisions. We've said no to countless numbers of platforms. For a very long time, we operated only on the Apple platform. It took us a year to get to the Android platform. And those are still the only two platforms we are on. We are not on PC, we are not on console, and so forth. We are not in any other mobile platform. We haven't done movies, we haven't done theme parks, we haven't done merchandising, and the list goes on. And all of that is because of quality. We just want to do the best games in the world, games that people will play for years. That brings us to how we think about failure. So if you think about us today, so we have been so lucky in that we have these free hit games right now, and we want to keep the company small, and we don't want to do many games. So automatically, that means that the threshold for launching any new game is incredibly high. Our next game must be perfect. Otherwise, we wouldn't be like acting according to our values of quality and focus. And that obviously means that there's bound to be a lot of failures because the bar is so high. For us, this is how we think about this. So if you want to do hit games, you need to take risk. If you take risk, there's going to be a lot of failures. But if you think about it backwards, without failure, if you are not failing, you are not taking enough risk. and therefore you don't have a chance to do those hit games. So we actually think that it's very important to fail. I would be dissatisfied if in any single year we would have more successes than failures. That would tell me that we are not taking enough risk. So therefore, we believe that it's very important to create an environment that not only it's safe to fail in, but it actually almost celebrates the failure. And maybe if it doesn't celebrate the failure itself, because everybody knows that failing is not fun, it just is not. But what is worth celebrating are those learnings that come from the failure. So at our company, we have this habit that, for example, when we need to kill a game that wasn't successful, we organize a celebration around it. We have the team up there on the stage. They tell everybody in the company very openly, very honestly, what went right, and more importantly, what went wrong and what did we learn. And then actually to celebrate those learnings, we celebrate them with a glass of champagne, and sometimes we even eat a cake. Like the photo there on the right is from a game called Spooky Pop that is just recently killed, and celebrated with both champagne and cake. I think failure and dealing with it is an essential part of being in any kind of creative business. The very last thing I wanted to talk about is this concept of long term. That has always been very important to us. Back then we started, long term for us meant a period of maybe 5 to 10 years. But then we met our current chairman of the board, Mr. Son, and he completely redefined what long term means for us. Instead of 5 to 10 years, Mr. Son was talking about the next 300 years. And that became a huge inspiration for us. So we actually changed our thinking. We started to think that whatever we do today, whatever decisions we do today, we should not think how they affect the company tomorrow, next week, next month, or even the next year. No, we should think like, how do those decisions affect the company we are trying to build for the next 10 years, maybe even for the next 100 years. That is what long-term truly means. And that brings us back to Korea, where we started. So we are very, very committed for Korea for the long term. So we understand that it's been very early for us, even despite some success. It's early days for us, and we understand that it will take tens of years for us to truly become a successful company over here. I would also like to use this opportunity to thank all of our players here. It means so much for us, the support that we are getting from all of the players we have here, and obviously without them we wouldn't be here. So just a huge thanks to all of you guys. Also, like, we will stay committed to providing the best possible quality in terms of new games, updates, and service to our players over here. And to finish off, I'd like to share one learning from a local community where I come from, the gaming development community from Helsinki, Finland. So the game companies in Helsinki, Finland, we don't think each other as competitors. We actually think each other as friends. We love to help each other. We are like a big family. So I have a humble request for the local community over here. Please take us as a part of your family. Please help us nurture your community and develop it, and let's work on that together. With that, I'd like to thank you. Kamsahamnida.